Architectural Builders Supply is pleased to present you with this recording of the technical question that is listed in the title of this video.
This call may be monitored and recorded for quality assurance.
Per se. And it said, because the doors that I want to put this on are 36-inch doors. And it talked about a reduction, so you wouldn't get a 36 per se wide kick plate. You'd get like a 34 and a half or a 34.
You would get what you order. So be mindful of that. Kick plates, okay. The definition of kick plate means that it's mounted on the push side of the door, and the standard industry best practice for that would be 2 inch less than door width, whereas a mop plate that's installed would generally be installed on the pull side of the door would be 1.5 inches less than door width. So it sounds like you're looking for a 34-inch plate.
What is a mop? Because this is for mount. Okay, what the situation is is that it's 2 doors of our church, and they're in bad condition, and the lower portion are the worst of the bad condition. So we figured, well, let's put some kind of brass plate on it to deal with that, so that it's not going to totally deteriorate during this pandemic kind of thing. So all the other stuff appears to be dark aluminum, anodized aluminum. And so what is a mop plate, if you will?
Yeah, so there are 4 definitions of protection plates: mop, stretcher, kick, and armor. And those 4 words individually define where the item is installed. So if we say kick, it means it's mounted on the push side of the door. So you could therefore not have a mop plate and install it on the push side, and vice versa. It's just what we call it. We have to define the difference within the industry, because if you have doors in a hospital, then they swing out into the corridor, those plates are going to be on the pull side of the door, and it's called a mop plate, and that helps tell the installer what side of the door you want them on. So if I said kick plates, don't install them on the pull side, because that's wrong, because I didn't call it a mop plate. So it's important to define it accurately, because, for instance, those best practice reduction from nominal door width also is a definition. Stretcher plate is the same as a mop plate, but a stretcher plate is mounted up higher off the floor for, again, a hospital application. And then armor plates are just big sheets of architectural material to help prevent the door from being damaged, mostly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in looking at the size, I mean, the 6x36, when I looked at the door, that would handle the problem. The only question is the nominal width of the door is 36 inches. So the question would then be whether it's a mop or a kick plate. I mean, it's basically the same type of piece of metal.
Oh, most definitely. Yeah, absolutely it is. But 36 would be wrong regardless of what we call it for a nominal 3-foot wide door, because your door, your net door width won't be 36. And unless you're installing it on the pull side like you would a mop plate, you'll certainly need that to be undersized slightly. Having said that, you can order, let's say that you put the tape measure on your door and it's 35 and 13/16, and you are installing it on the pull side. Okay, great. Who cares? We'll call it a mop plate or a kick plate, but it's a mop. And then you can order it, so that you can gain the advantage of the protection of the metal applied to the door.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I want to do. I measured the door. It is a full 36-inch door.
So that's not the nominal size. That's the actual size.
Actual size.
The nominal size is the dimension between the rabbet of the frame.
Okay. No, this is the actual size.
Oh, okay. There you go.
So, and it is on the pull side of the door.
Yes, sir.
And so whatever your recommendation is for the actual width of the or length of the mop plate, if you will, I mean, it could come in an inch from either side, so it could be a 34-inch.
Well, yes. I mean, rule of thumb would tell us to make it 34 and a half, but that's just a rule of thumb. Doesn't mean, many people have 36-inch wide doors and they literally order it the full size because they've got some gouging around the outside edges of the door. So you would have to make the final decision as to what's the best width for your plate.
Okay. So if I told you I would like a 35-inch by 6-inch mop plate, we could start there. And then they have beveled edge, non-beveled edge. What am I, for a mop plate, what's the difference?
Well, you would want a beveled edge because you don't want to have a sharp outside corner. And while if you ordered a non-beveled edge, it's still going to have what we call a pencil bevel on it, which is a very light breaking or a very small chamfering of that outside perimeter, so that should you slide your finger down it, you won't cut your finger open unless you were really intended to do that. A bevel is a much heavier chamfer and is purely an aesthetic look, in my opinion. It does look a little more finished, and I think a beveled edge looks better on plates when they're 125 thousandths thick rather than just the standard 50 thousandths thick. If you do a public job like a public library, they'll have kick plates that are 125 thousandths thick, very thick pieces of bronze, stainless, brass, whatever it is.
Sure.
A bevel would look better on that thicker material, but the non-beveled or just what would be a pencil bevel or a wipe is adequate and is in fact standard.
Okay, so that chooses that, and then my other question was on the color. When I looked at the kick plates, I looked at on the webpage, there's 3 different colors, and the one that makes the most sense is the center one, which looks black, but I doubt is black. And when I looked at the various finishes that you have, the dark anodized aluminum looked to be the most accurate. If, is that going to look like a brown almost?
Yeah, but a dark brown.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. I think that's consistent with the hardware that's on the door.
Well, it'll be compatible. I mean, the hardware on your door is not anodized aluminum, so it won't match exactly. But it'll be compatible if you have a dark bronze or an oil rub bronze type finish now.
Yeah. Is there anything among the other potential selections for the finish that would fall into that category?
Sure, oil rub bronze.
Oil rub. Okay. I didn't see that in the list. So, okay, then what's the additional portion of that, and how, when you say, it's bronze, so when you say, what's the additional cost for the oil rubbed bronze?
What kick plate are you looking at now?
Well, I'm at the kick plates that are brass accents 6x36 kick plate, manufactured by Brass Accents.
6x36. $636. Okay, there it is.
But I didn't want to go down to the road where it says antique brass at $77.
Well, that's the road you would go down because the base material changes.
Okay. So, yeah, I want to keep this I need 2 kick plates. I want to keep it under $100 or as close to 100 as I can.
Okay.
And it looks like the dark anodized aluminum would seem to fit the bill, unless there's something else that you could tell me would fall into that category.
I don't have anything that's going to meet your budget and not be aluminum.
Okay. The metal doesn't make a difference.
It does when it comes to the cost.
Yeah. I understand. From the standpoint of the application, it doesn't make a difference.
Okay.
It's only in cost, because and trying to come up with a color match. I mean, worst case scenario, if it didn't match well enough, I could get a metal paint and paint it.
Okay. I don't have any experience painting anodized aluminum. If anything, I would probably consider having someone powder coat it, but I don't know what that would cost.
Yeah. But anyway, I'm not trying to burden you with that. I'm just trying to come up with something that's close enough to a dark brown in the lower price range for the appropriate size and a mop application.
Yeah.
So is there something different than
this will be complementary, but it's not going to match?
I don't expect it to be an exact match, but it's more important now to get through on a fix-it basis than try to remove the doors and restore them per se.
Okay.
So that being said, what item number would you recommend so I can at least pull it up here on the screen?
How is what we're looking at different than the one you've already have?
I don't believe it would be. I mean, I'm looking at the polished brass, the dark, and then the turquoise colored. I don't know what that is.
There isn't another product that I would steer you to that would give you anything beyond what you've already found.
Okay. All right. And so this particular plate, what is its thickness?
50 thousandths.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I mean, and with holes. With holes and screws. If you have holes, do you provide screws or?
Oh yeah, it'll include fasteners.
Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. So let's go with that then, and I want to order 2 of them.
Okay. I'm going to send you over to order entry, so stand by one moment. Architectural Builders Supply hopes you have enjoyed this program. Again, thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up. Please subscribe and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.